is my life story. I'll be sharing with you details that not many people know about me. These are things that I'm not proud of. Many of the things that I've done I'm not proud of. However, I believe that God has rescued me and changed my life completely. I'll be splitting this up in two videos for the simple fact that it's too lengthy. However, I will try to put as much information as I can and make it interesting for you so you can understand why I became a Christian. I was born in San Germán, Puerto Rico, February 5th, 1981. That's why the name Neftali 1981 comes in. My true name is Neftali. And I was born in San Germán, Puerto Rico. At about the age of 5 or 6, just about, I remember being in the porch of our house and all of a sudden seeing that my mom was being dragged away from the house. I remember that she was trembling and all of that stuff, and it was pretty crazy. Little did I know that it was my mother who was passing away right there. She was having a heart attack. I remember that that was the last time I saw my mother. I don't remember many details about it, but that was a pretty crazy moment in my life. I remember in the funeral, I thought she was sleeping. My family was telling me she was sleeping just to try to make me not be sad and stuff. I remember that same night I asked my brother, I said, "Billy, can we stay in the funeral home? Can we stay here just to sleep with Mom?" And he was like, yeah, let's stay sleeping. She's sleeping still. And listen, he just went with the flow, and that's what we did. We stayed the night sleeping in the funeral home, and the next day when I woke up, she wasn't there anymore. From that point in time, I don't remember the burial or anything, but I do know that she was saved, so that's a good thing. At around the age of 9, my dad remarried to a wonderful stepmother, which I consider my mother. I don't consider her my stepmother. I consider her my mom. She was simply amazing. And at around the age of 15, 16, that's when I started rebelling. Around the age of 15, 16, I was experimenting with a lot of things, and I even tried to pray to Satan a few times and all that stuff. You know, really ignorantly. I would have different girlfriends and stuff like that, try to do like witchcraft, and it was just it was nonsense, you know. I didn't know what I was doing. Now around the age of 15, 16, around there, I did almost get arrested for stealing at a store. That just started the beginning of many troubles, of an addiction to steal, an addiction to get money fast and hanging out and everything like that. I remember that that little rush that I felt when I stole that something from that store was amazing. It was an amazing rush. I remember that from that point in time on, little by little, my addiction to stealing and getting money fast and money hungry became more and more and more and more and more. I remember that my dad, since my dad is elderly, he trusted me a lot. My dad, I knew his PIN number for his ATM. Okay, and my dad used to take Xanax to go to sleep because he was a really nervous person and everything like that. And I remember one day when he went to sleep, I don't know what got into me. I have no idea, but I went into his ATM. I went into his wallet. I took his ATM card, and since I already had a car at 15, 16 years old, I went on a shopping spree. I remember that for the next 5 or 6 months, I was taking money out of that account. 100, 200. Sometimes I wouldn't take anything. Sometimes 400. Sometimes 50, 40. All depends. And I used to just be hanging out with my friends and spending it on nonsense. At that point in time, the PlayStation was popular, so I had the PlayStation. I had a whole bunch of stuff, and it's really saddens me that I did that. At the same time, while I was doing that, I was supposed to be going to a Christian school that my dad enrolled me in. The Christian school was like around $340 a month, just about, and my dad used to give me the money to pay for the school. Like, he gave me a blank money order, or he'll give me the money cash and all that stuff. And I used to bring him fake receipts. And little did he know that during those months, while I was also stealing the money from his ATM card, I was also not going to school. My parents trusted me. They had no reason to even believe that I would be doing these type of things. Well, November came of that year. I was 16 years old, and I got home one day and I saw that my house was painted. I saw that we had a 2-story house, and it was painted. And my dad tells us, Tally, go with your mom and take money from the ATM, from the savings account. Little did he know that the car was back in his wallet now because it had no money. As soon as I wasted all the money, I put it back into his card thinking that no one will find out. Well, that day we go to the bank, and I play it off like if the bank is closed and this and this and that. And like I tell you, my parents are elderly, so they bought into it. The next day, my dad noticed weird that I didn't do it, because you can still go to the ATM whether the bank is closed or not. So he goes to the bank, and when he goes to the bank, they tell him that someone has stolen over $5,000 or $6,000 from his bank account, and that they can give him the money back, but he'll have to press federal charges against that person, and that person will go to jail. And that they believe that that person was his son. So anyway, he goes to the house and he asks me, Tally, did you do this? And I told him, Dad, no, what are you talking about? Why would I ever do that to you? Trying to place the guilt back on him. How dare you accuse me of that, Dad? And my dad tells me, listen, if you didn't do it, that's okay, but I have to go back to the bank today. If you did it, let me know, because I'm going to press charges. And if I press charges, you're going to go to jail for a long time. I'll get my money back, but that's not what I'm about. So I then admitted that I did it. I don't know what I was thinking about. My dad didn't get up and hit me. He didn't get up and beat me up. My dad got up and gave me a hug. And he said, one day, God is going to change you. At that point in time, I didn't want to hear about God. At that point in time, I can care less about God. At that point in time, I could care less about living a godly life. That's not what I was about. And I was like, okay, sure. But that little hug he gave me and those words he said hit me more than a butt whooping. It hit me more than a butt whooping, and that stuck with me many, many years. It got to the point that I was so rebellious and I was doing so many things. After that point in time, I tampered into his checking account. At one point in time, I knew that the mortgage payment was $680 a month. He went ahead and mailed out the payment of $680 a month. He put it on the mailbox, and I lifted up the little flag so that the mailman can take it. I went into the mailbox. I took the check. I ripped it up. I called the bank. I knew his social and everything. I put a stop payment on that check, and I wrote myself a check for $680. Since he saw that $680 was covered from his bank, he didn't even think twice to see who was charging that money from him. Little did he know that he was about to lose the house. So around the age of 17, all of these things had happened. At the age of 17, I was out of school. Stole nearly $8,000 or $9,000 when it's all totaled up from my parents. I was hanging out, doing incorrect things, and I remember that my dad suffered a lot. I remember that my dad, he got to the point that although I was only 17, he moved to Puerto Rico. And he said, listen, I have to go. I can't be here anymore. I'm so sorry. You're about to turn 18. I can't do this anymore. And he left with my mom to Puerto Rico. He left me with my sister here in Florida. So anyway, he went to Puerto Rico, and little did he know that I was going to follow him because the cops were looking for me here in Florida. And for something incorrectly that I did. However, before the cops could get me, I went ahead and went to my brother Billy, and I told him that I wanted to go to Puerto Rico. He didn't know the whole thing, and they flew me out to Puerto Rico. As soon as I get to Puerto Rico, 2 or 3 days later, my sister calls and says, Daddy, the cops are here looking for Tally, and they're going to arrest him. At that point in time, my dad was just so disappointed. It was crazy. We're almost at the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. Part 2 to come pretty soon. So, God bless you. Thank you for not judging me. We all make mistakes. We all grow, right? Amen.